Oh, is that so? Have you really bought a house? Well then, in that case, I'd like to move in with you. My mother-in-law suddenly declared over the phone in an absurdly unexpected way. She must have heard the news from my husband. In the background, I could hear my sister-in-law chuckling. Did she really think I wouldn't notice? Truthfully, the idea of living with my mother-in-law and her family does not appeal to me in the slightest. I had assumed my husband felt the same way, but now that they're aware of our new home, are they expecting to move in with us? The thought of my dear husband being in on this scheme unsettles me. Even so, there's no way I'll let them have their way. Are they trying to manipulate me? If that's their plan, I'll turn the tables on them. Remembering everything I've endured, I silently vowed to make them regret it. My name is Rachel Baker. I'm 30 years old and work for a major financial corporation. I married my husband Matthew 3 years ago. We don't have children yet, but that's a deliberate choice. One we both made after careful consideration. We're both dedicated to our careers, working hard to establish ourselves professionally. We agreed that once things settled down, we'd build a stable home and revisit the conversation about starting a family. It wasn't a decision made lightly, but one based on open discussions about our future. Of course, we do want children someday, and now that we're laying the groundwork for that dream, I find myself reflecting on all my past struggles. Then, just as I successfully led an important project at work, my long-awaited promotion was confirmed. Although my salary was already comfortable, this raise made things even better. As for Matthew, while he didn't get promoted, his years of service earned him a significant salary increase. With both our incomes rising, I felt it was the perfect time to take the next step toward our dream. So I brought up the idea with Matthew. "Matthew, I want to talk to you," I said. "Our financial situation has been stable for the past year. Don't you think it's time we consider buying our own home?" "Oh, already?" he responded, excitement evident in his voice. "I've actually been thinking about it too," he admitted, "but since I haven't gotten promoted yet, I felt hesitant to bring it up." "That doesn't matter," I reassured him. "It's not like only one of us has to shoulder the cost. I was thinking we could put the house under my name." "Really? Well, you are earning more now. If that works for you, let's do it," he agreed. "Great. Let's check out some model homes on our next day off," I suggested. "Sounds perfect. Let's not miss this opportunity," he replied enthusiastically. At moments like this, I'm reminded of why I chose Matthew. We share the same outlook on life. The following week, we made an appointment to visit model homes. Seeing various styles helped us refine our vision. On weekends, we started sketching rough floor plans and researching online. A construction company we visited suggested that instead of leaving all the decisions to them, we should have a clear idea of what we wanted in our dream home. Taking their advice to heart, Matthew and I worked on defining our ideal living space. The only problem? Neither of us knew much about architecture or design. Even with research, turning ideas into reality took time. One evening, as we were taking a break from our planning, the doorbell suddenly rang. Expecting a delivery, I casually opened the door, only to find my mother-in-law standing there unannounced. "Mother," I said, startled. "What brings you here all of a sudden?" She had a habit of dropping by without warning. Without so much as a greeting, she stepped inside, removed her shoes, and walked straight in. "Matthew, I'm here," she called out. Matthew, just as surprised as I was, looked up. "Mom, what's going on? Did you have some errands around here?" At his question, she hesitated for a moment before responding. "I told Rachel over the phone earlier, but I guess she didn't mention it to you." "Oh, I see. Maybe Rachel forgot," Matthew replied casually. "That must be it," his mother said with a smirk. "Rachel's memory is awful, even though she's still young." Matthew frowned. "That's not true, Mom. Rachel works hard at her job and takes care of our home. She has a lot on her mind." "You're such a sweet boy, Matthew," she said, shaking her head. "If your father were still alive, he wouldn't have let this slide." Matthew ignored the remark. "Anyway, Mom, what brings you here?" With a satisfied smile, she pulled a travel brochure from her bag and spread it out on the table. A post-it note was marking a specific page. "Listen, Matthew, I've always wanted to go to Niagara Falls. Why don't you take me?" Both Matthew and I stared at her in stunned silence. Unfazed, she continued pressing him. Matthew frowned. "What are you talking about? Rachel and I have our responsibilities, and I can't just take time off work. Besides, it doesn't make sense for me to pay for a vacation for you and Sophia. She waved off his concern. Of course it does. Spending money on family is a wonderful thing. Don't you agree, Rachel? She asked, turning to me with an expectant look. Though caught off guard, I remained firm. Well, spending on family isn't a bad thing, but forcing someone to pay is another matter entirely, I stated. Her face twisted in disbelief. Are you accusing me of trying to squeeze money out of Matthew? I didn't say that, I countered calmly. But from what I'm hearing, it does sound like you're expecting him to fund the trip. Rachel, that's awful. How could you twist my words like that in front of Matthew? I can't believe you paint me as some villain, she exclaimed in mock outrage. I never said that, I replied. I just answered your question honestly. She huffed. Fine, fine, no need for excuses. Just admit it, you don't like me, do you? She glared at me with cold eyes. This always happened when she visited. She would find some excuse to demand money and then waste it on luxuries with Sophia. But this time Matthew stood his ground. Mom, he said firmly, just because you're my mother doesn't mean you get to insult Rachel. She only answered what you asked. Matthew's voice was firm as he asked, Are you seriously taking Rachel's side? His mother's expression darkened with hurt. What are you saying? I'm saying you're in the wrong here, Mom, he stated without hesitation. That's so unfair. Rachel must have turned you against me. You used to be such a sweet, obedient child before marriage, she insisted, trying to manipulate him. Matthew, however, wasn't swayed. This has nothing to do with Rachel. I'm saying it because it's what I believe. His resolute response caught his mother off guard. She wasn't used to being defied like this. Biting her lip in frustration, she let out a sharp breath. Fine, she muttered before storming out. Once she was gone, Matthew turned to me with an apologetic look. Rachel, I'm really sorry. She always makes things uncomfortable for you. I shook my head. It's okay. This time, you stood up for us. Once we move into our new home, we'll be farther away. Let's try to keep our distance from her. Matthew let out a relieved sigh. Yeah, that would be best. If you're okay with it, I'm grateful. Our soon-to-be home was much farther from our current apartment, making it more convenient for both our jobs. Right now, we lived about 5 train stations away from his mother's place, but our new house would be 3 times farther, with transfers in between. The route was complicated enough that if we didn't give her our address, she wouldn't be able to find it. This was the perfect chance to sever ties once and for all. A few weeks later, we finalized the design of our dream home and submitted it to the construction company. 2 months after that, work began. 6 months later, our $500,000 home was finally complete. Despite our busy schedules, Matthew and I managed to set aside time to pack. While sorting through boxes, my phone rang. Seeing my mother-in-law's name on the screen, I sighed but answered on speaker. Hello. Her voice was unusually high-pitched, almost cheerful. Rachel, when's the big move? You've bought a house, right? I'd love to live with you. I froze. Did I hear her correctly? She must have found out about our home from Matthew. In the background, I heard Sophia, my sister-in-law, laughing. This is perfect, Sophia snickered. Rachel can take care of everything for us. Mom, this was a brilliant idea. Did they really think I wouldn't hear them? Their plan was clear. They wanted to take advantage of me, expecting a cushy life in our new home. I had no intention of letting that happen, but did Matthew? Had he agreed to this behind my back? The possibility unsettled me. They're trying to use me? Fine. I'll turn the tables on them. Feigning innocence, I gave them our moving date. Great, my mother-in-law said. We'll come to your apartment in the afternoon that day. Make sure to bring us along in your car, and don't forget to arrange movers for us too. She hung up before I could respond, as if I had any intention of following through with their ridiculous demands. I turned to go find Matthew, but before I could take a step, I realized he was already standing behind me. Matthew, how long have you been there? I asked, startled. I came to tell you we should take a break, but was that Mom on the phone just now? He asked, his expression dark. Yeah, I sighed. I was about to ask you, why did you tell her about our house? I didn't, he replied quickly. She must have seen the floor plan last time she visited. She kept pestering me about it, asking how many rooms there were, what features it had. I'm really sorry, Rachel. I studied his face. So, you don't plan on living with her, right? Of course not. His voice was firm. After hearing that call, I think it's best if we cut ties with them completely. His anger was evident, stronger than I'd ever seen before. I let out a breath of relief. Matthew was on my side. That settles it then, I said, feeling a weight lift from my shoulders. Now it was time for me to strike back. Finally, moving day arrived. That morning, Matthew and I loaded our belongings into the moving truck and drove to our new home. By the time everything was unloaded, it was already past 1 p.m. Taking a break, we checked our phones. Dozens of missed calls. Matthew groaned. She called me too. Right on cue, his phone rang again. I answered, still on speaker. Hello. Rachel, where are you? I told you we'd be at your apartment in the afternoon. I kept my voice casual. Oh yes, you did mention that. So, what do you need? What do I need? You didn't book our movers. I've been waiting all day and not a single truck has shown up. I'd even had to go to your apartment myself, she shrieked. Oh really? I replied nonchalantly. That's unfortunate. What? What do you mean? You were supposed to handle everything. Where's your new house? I smirked. You actually think I'd tell you? Silence. Then, huh? My mother-in-law sounded utterly dumbfounded. She must have assumed Matthew would back her up like always, but not this time. Determined to set things straight, I made myself crystal clear. Let me spell it out for you. Matthew and I have no intention of living with you. From now on, stay out of our lives. What nonsense are you saying? That's for Matthew to decide, not you. Just tell me where the house is already. I chuckled. And how exactly do you plan to get here when you don't even know the address? This house is in my name. I decide who gets to live here. If you show up uninvited, that's trespassing, and trust me, I won't hesitate to press charges. Trespassing? How dare you say that to your husband's family? She screeched. But before I could respond, Matthew spoke, his voice ice cold. Family, he scoffed. The only real family I had was Dad, and he's gone now. What? She sounded stunned. After that phone call, I've had enough. I don't want anything to do with you or Sophia. From now on, my only family is Dad and Rachel. As far as I'm concerned, you two don't exist. Matthew, don't say that, please, she begged. Don't call us again, he said flatly. Then, without waiting for her response, he hung up and blocked her number. For the first time in years, we were finally free. And from that day forward, we lived in peace. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Stay tuned.